It crossed lands once anchored in other creeds or swept by tides of secular thought. Something unexpected is stirring beneath the surface. Catholicism, like an ember long buried in ash, is catching flame again, quietly, powerfully, and in the places least foreseen. This is not a matter of charts and trend lines. This is the heartbeat of real communities, returning to a sacred rhythm of tradition, sacrament, and transcendent meaning. In 5 nations, pews are no longer empty but brimming. Seminaries echo with new voices, and young families amid chaos and change are reaching for a faith that anchors the soul. The church is not in retreat, it is rising. Masses draw the multitudes. Conversions swell. Towns, cities, even national identities are being reimagined in the wake of this unexpected spiritual tide. A silent uprising of belief is unfolding, not tomorrow, but today. Stay tuned. Because what's awakening across the world is not just a movement, it's a mission, and it has only just begun. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. Number 1, South Korea. Beneath the gleam of neon skylines and the rhythm of K-pop stages, a quieter force has been reshaping the soul of a nation. While South Korea dazzles the world with its innovations in robotics, artificial intelligence, and digital culture, another kind of transformation has been unfolding, one that transcends technology and speaks to the deep hunger of the human spirit. South Korea, once viewed as a distant mission territory, is now one of Catholicism's most vibrant epicenters. The growth is not merely statistical, it's spiritual, cultural, and generational. In a society driven by relentless achievement and the pressure to conform, many South Koreans are turning inward, seeking a refuge that offers peace instead of performance, and meaning that outlasts metrics. For a population immersed in hypermodern life, Catholicism has emerged not as a relic, but as a radical alternative, inviting stillness in the age of speed. This renewal isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself with billboards or crusades. It breathes through packed pews on Sunday mornings, through whispered prayers at daily Mass, and in the soft glow of Eucharistic adoration. In the quiet of confessionals, the wounded pour out their hearts. In catechism classes, generations are formed not just in doctrine, but in identity. What's unique about the Korean Catholic story is its origin. Unlike most parts of the world where missionaries carried the faith across oceans, Catholicism in Korea was born from the pages of books, discovered, not delivered. 18th century scholars studying Confucian texts encountered Christian writings from China, and in them, a new vision of divine love, sacrifice, and human dignity. That vision ignited a movement, and it cost them dearly. Thousands were martyred under waves of persecution. Fathers, mothers, and children died not with weapons in hand, but with scripture on their lips. Their blood soaked the soil that now yields new vocations. That heritage is not forgotten. It's reverenced. Pilgrims visit the Jeoldusan Martyrs Shrine along the Han River, not as tourists, but as descendants of faith forged in fire. Beneath the chapel, relics whisper stories of courage. Children learn their names. Seminarians kneel in silence, inheriting their sacrifice. But the Korean church is not bound by its past. It is boldly shaping the future. Parish life is dynamic. Youth groups thrive. Religious orders flourish. Universities like the Catholic University of Korea and institutions like St. Mary's Hospital serve both mind and body, anchoring faith in reason and compassion. Even more striking, South Korea is now sending missionaries abroad. Korean priests, sisters, and lay leaders are building communities in Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia, places where Western missions once struggled, but where Korean humility and shared history find resonance. In a world where religious vocations are declining, Korean seminaries remain full. Young men and women are choosing consecrated life, not out of obligation, but conviction. These are not remnants of a golden age. They are the signs of a church alive, rooted in suffering, awakened by silence, and fueled by a longing deeper than success. South Korea's Catholic revival is not a chapter quietly tucked into global church history. It is a rising tide. It's a testament to what happens when the ancient and the modern collide, when digital natives kneel before eternal truths, and when a nation steeped in hierarchy and hustle discovers a kingdom built on grace. Number 2, Nigeria. If Catholicism in Africa has a heartbeat, it thunders in Nigeria. In a land where political unrest, violent extremism, and economic hardship would seem to suffocate hope, faith has done the opposite. It has exploded into flame. From the crowded streets of Lagos to the dust-worn chapels of the north, the church is not merely present, it's overflowing. Masses draw crowds so large they spill outside the doors. Sunday liturgies are alive with hymns that shake the walls, and weekday Eucharistic gatherings pulse with reverent devotion. This is not a faith of convenience. It is a lifeline. What makes Nigeria's Catholic surge extraordinary isn't just the sheer number of conversions or vocations, though those are impressive, it's the backdrop against which they occur. In regions torn by insurgencies and religious persecution, believers still gather under threat of violence. Priests lead masses where churches have been bombed. The faithful pray where neighbors have vanished, and yet they continue, not with bitterness, but with unshakable resolve. Seminaries are full to capacity. Young men pursue the priesthood not for prestige, but because they feel called to be shepherds in a wounded land. Many are now serving abroad, breathing life into declining parishes across Europe and North America. Nigerian priests are no longer a novelty overseas. They are essential. Youth ministries in cities like Enugu and Onitsha are staging massive rosary rallies and praise nights that draw thousands. Marian devotion isn't ceremonial. It's intimate, emotional, and omnipresent. Images of the Blessed Virgin fill homes, streets, and hearts. And the Catholic charismatic renewal has electrified parishes with healing services, spirited preaching, and overnight vigils saturated in song, scripture, and sacramental encounter. In a nation where institutions falter, the church stands as a pillar. Schools still teach, clinics still heal, parishes still serve. The church has become a sanctuary, not just of worship, but of dignity, justice, and healing. The martyrs of Nigeria are not names on plaques. They are remembered aloud, celebrated in liturgy, and imprinted on the faith of a rising generation. Their blood, shed not in the pages of history, but in recent memory, nourishes the church's strength. Their courage is not symbolic, it is foundational. Here, Catholicism is not a tradition kept, it is a flame carried. It moves in processions, in choirs, in whispered rosaries and thundering homilies. It lives not in theory, but in the resilience of a people who pray louder than their pain and march forward, undaunted, unbroken, and ablaze with belief. Number 3, India. In a land where temple bells echo through ancient skies and sacred rivers shape the spiritual fabric of millions, Catholicism is quietly threading its way into the soul of India, firm, steady, and unmistakably alive. Though the country is often defined by its deep-rooted Hindu traditions and increasingly assertive religious nationalism, the Catholic Church has found unlikely ground to not only endure, but expand. From the green hills of Kerala to the tribal heartlands of the Northeast, Catholic parishes are thriving, tucked into tea plantations, nestled beside mosques and temples, or hidden within the noise of sprawling urban centers. India is home to one of Asia's largest Catholic populations. Yet what makes its presence compelling is not scale, but substance. In a society historically shaped by caste barriers, the Church speaks a countercultural truth. Human worth is not inherited by birth, but bestowed by baptism. The so-called untouchables, long dismissed and marginalized, walk into Catholic churches and are received not as inferiors, but as children of God, equal, dignified, and beloved. This radical message continues to attract hearts across boundaries. Despite growing threats, targeted attacks, and political hostility, the Church does not shrink, it adapts. Masses continue in the early dawn. Catechism circles whisper truths in places where proclamation invites risk. Eucharistic adoration unfolds behind shuttered doors. The flame burns low but never out. The roots of Catholicism in India run deeper than many realize. Its story traces back not to colonizers, but to the Apostle Thomas himself, whose arrival on India's shores in the 1st century seeded a faith that still flowers today. The Syro-Malabar and Syro-Malankara rites preserve a liturgical tradition older than many European cathedrals, echoing with chants in ancient Aramaic and Malayalam. Modern saints have walked these streets. Mother Teresa's mission in Kolkata brought Catholic witness to the gutters and alleys, where the dying were not abandoned but embraced. Her legacy endures, not just in name, but in generations of nuns, priests, and lay missionaries serving across villages and slums, in schools, clinics, and shelters. What defines Catholicism in India is its deep devotion to service. Where the state stumbles, the church stands. Mission-run hospitals care for the forgotten. Orphanages raise the unwanted. Schools educate the unseen. And all of it, quietly, powered by faith, sacrifice, and the hands of those who expect no applause. Amid persecution, Indian Catholics remain resolute, not through retaliation, but perseverance. In forests lit by candlelight, in homes sealed by fear, in chapels echoing with soft hymns, the faith endures, not as protest, but as presence. This is not a movement demanding the spotlight. It is a seed breaking through concrete, a light in shadow, a church not loud, but alive. Number 4, the Philippines. In a country where church bells still echo over rice fields and jeepneys past roadside shrines, Catholicism isn't just surviving, it's being reborn. Though nearly 80% of the population already identifies as Catholic, the real story is what's happening beneath the surface. A vibrant spiritual awakening driven not by obligation, but by hunger, for depth, for truth, for God. For decades, faith in the Philippines was interwoven with culture, passed down like heirlooms, celebrated in fiestas, and etched into the skyline by steeples. But today, more and more Filipinos are embracing Catholicism with personal conviction. It's no longer simply inherited, it's chosen. Youth-led movements like Youth for Christ and the Catholic Charismatic Renewal are transforming prayer into action. In cities and barrios alike, young people are filling stadiums with praise, diving into scripture, and forming communities of evangelization that rival any pop concert in energy and commitment. Faith here doesn't whisper, it sings. Massive public devotions, like the barefoot pilgrimage of the Black Nazarene, draw millions. Marian processions stretch for miles, their flickering candles illuminating streets for hours. These aren't hollow traditions. They're sacred encounters that draw hearts back to the altar. Even in crisis, the flame didn't dim. When churches shut down during the pandemic, faith went digital. Live stream masses reached millions. Facebook rosary circles and Zoom Bible studies exploded overnight. What could have been spiritual silence became a new form of proclamation. The sacraments were missed, but the longing only deepened. Media has become a new pulpit. YouTube channels on Catholic apologetics, Instagram reels of priestly reflections, podcasts hosted by nuns and lay ministers, all now play a vital role in catechizing a digital generation. In a world drowning in secular noise, the Filipino church has found its voice online, and it's echoing far beyond its shores. Education fuels this momentum. Parishes now invest in adult catechesis. Lay catechists, ordinary men and women, are becoming theologians in their communities, breaking open scripture and doctrine with renewed clarity. The church is no longer assuming faith, it's forming it, patiently and intentionally. And that fire doesn't stay local. Filipino missionaries, priests, sisters, nurses, caregivers are now lifelines in struggling parishes around the globe. They bring not only service but song, not only tradition but joy. In corners of Europe and Asia where the faith is fading, it's the Filipino witness that keeps the sanctuary light burning. From island villages to crowded megacities, Catholicism in the Philippines is no museum piece. It is alive, creative, and fearless, rising from pews, pulsing through screens, carried in barefoot processions and whispered rosaries. It's not preservation, it's resurrection. Number 5, the Democratic Republic of Congo. In the heart of Central Africa, where the soil has known conflict and the skies echo with uncertainty, something extraordinary has taken root. The Democratic Republic of Congo, despite decades of instability and hardship, has quietly become one of the spiritual giants of the Catholic world. Nearly half the population now identifies as Catholic, not as a result of prosperity, but in spite of the absence of it. Where government services collapse and civil institutions falter, it is the Church that steps in, not as an accessory but as a lifeline. Catholic schools continue to teach where no state system exists. Clinics treat the sick where hospitals have no power. Orphanages, food programs, and parish outreach carry on even in places scarred by war. What makes this growth even more compelling is that it's not driven by convenience or comfort. It's fueled by conviction. Faith in the DRC isn't a tradition. It's a survival instinct wrapped in grace. In communities surrounded by violence, people still gather for Mass. Children still kneel for catechism. Vocations to the priesthood are not declining. They're flourishing. Seminaries are full, and religious orders continue to expand. This once mission land is now sending missionaries abroad, to France, to Canada, to remote parishes in Latin America. The flow of evangelization has reversed. The global South is no longer the silent recipient. It is now the beating heart of the Church's future. In this fragile yet faithful nation, the Church has become a moral voice, speaking boldly against corruption, injustice, and violence. Bishops stand not behind pulpits, but before crowds and governments, demanding peace, dignity, and truth. The pulpit here is both spiritual and political, grounded in Scripture and stained by sacrifice. Amid chaos, the gospel is not an abstract idea. It's lived out daily in the resilience of families who keep praying, in the catechists who teach by candlelight, in the communities that choose peace while the world around them burns. The Church isn't just a building in Congo. It's the memory of martyrs, the shelter for the forgotten, and the promise that darkness will never have the final word. The people here don't just hear the word, they carry it, not just within borders but across continents, not just in sermons but in sweat and song and service. In a place long defined by crisis, Catholicism in the DRC is quietly writing a new identity, not of despair, but of leadership. If this moved you, don't just watch, respond. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss a single moment from the front lines of living faith. Around the globe, stories are unfolding, quietly, boldly, and you're a part of that story. Now we want to hear from you. Which country's revival caught you off guard? Which one stirred your spirit? Share your thoughts in the comments and join us in lifting up those who carry the flame of faith in the shadows of the forgotten. This isn't just a headline. It's the living testimony of a church ablaze with purpose. Step into the fire, stay awake, stay devoted, and until next time, keep your light burning.